Hi, my name is Rod Francis, and I'm Head of Coaching Faculty on the Human Potential Coach Training Program and the creator and lead teacher of their landmark 8-week online mindfulness training. I've been personally engaging in meditation practice for over 35 years now, and these simple practices of mindfulness have provided the ground and framework for my most powerful growth and transformation. And I'm really delighted you're interested enough to explore some of these with me here now. As you'll experience, these practices are simple in instruction, but not always so simple to enact. However, they're called a practice because they require us to keep at it, to keep coming back. And despite the sense that we might not be getting it right or not much is happening, trust me, if you simply stay with the instruction as best as possible for now, something is most definitely happening. What we're engaging in here is a real-time rewiring of our neurology, which the neuroscientist Rick Hanson describes as a self-directed neuroplastic effect, meaning we are literally hacking our biology and making profound change simply by being here now in a very particular and purposeful way. So how about we do a little rewiring? Now, firstly, make sure you're in a posture that will be okay for about 15 to 20 minutes. It's possibly helpful if you're able to be self-supporting, so not lying down or leaning against something if possible. But if you do need to do that, then please do so. What's most important is to ensure you're able to feel a sense of ease and to let go a little, and that your posture reflects both this sense of ease while at the same time offering a sense of inner wakefulness. If it feels safe and helpful, then perhaps allow the eyes to gently close. If not, then you might allow them just to defocus. So for the gaze to soften and allow them to rest on the ground, the gaze to rest on the ground a little way in front. And when you do this, becoming aware of so much more of the data that's usually passing under the radar. So when we take out the visual field, all the internal awareness begins to grow. And you may recognize that you brought a lot into this moment. So whatever you've brought with you into this moment, or very often there might be something calling you, something that's insistently calling you, something in the future. Also, you may have the sense that this isn't the ideal posture, or there's maybe some sound or some other experience that's going on. The mind is a little busy, whatever. Just for now, I invite you to simply give permission for all of this experience to be just as it is. That nothing needs to be any different to the way it is now. And we can just recognize that and know that this is how it is in this moment. So let's just take a couple of longer, deeper breaths in and out from the body, just as a way of punctuating where we've come from to what we're establishing here in this moment. And when the last longer breath is left, then just allowing the breathing to return to its normal rhythm. And perhaps once again, having a little scan, bringing a little bit more attention to the body and the posture, just checking in, sensing into the body, allowing the awareness to permeate all the areas of the body. Particularly noticing the sense of contact, whatever you're sitting upon or lying upon. Sensing into that. Being aware of how it feels directly. So when you notice the experience of solidity underneath you, the floor or chair or whatever it is that you might be upon at the moment, that you can take the awareness there and just recognize this experience without bringing anything else to it. And what I mean by that is how the story builds up, how we judge around that. Oh, this is hard, I don't like this, I don't like hard. I'm not sure this is the most comfortable position. So all these narratives and stories that accompany us through life, these judgments of like and don't like. Just for this period of practice, I invite you to attempt to stay with this direct contact experience. And when you recognize the story arising, the judgment arising, there's nothing wrong with this. But I invite you to not accompany that anymore, just to let it go for now, and just to stay with the direct contact of the experience. And this may happen time and time again. You may also wander away far from the direct contact of the experience. But wherever you've gone, recognize where that is and simply come back with kindness and intentionality. Back to where you were paying attention. So for now, it's the contact of the ground or the chair, recognizing that. Recognizing that in that instruction I've just given, which is really important area to notice and pay attention to, the difference between the recognition of a direct experience and all the discourse, story and judgment that then attaches itself to it. And it's very quick. So from this contact of the ground, seeing if there's a sense of letting go into that. We don't have to be in any particular kind of arrangement around it. We can just simply rest upon that. So here is a recognition of the sense of innate ease. And then perhaps widening that field of awareness out to recognize the whole body. So the contact of the chair or the ground, and then the whole way the body arranges itself in gravity upwards from that. And that it does so of its own accord, with its own intrinsic way of creating balance. That there's an innate expression of aliveness and wakefulness in this as well. The way the body does it, how it finds its own sense of balance. They're just recognizing these two seeming polarities in our experience at the moment, the sense of resting upon with ease and arising up with an innate aliveness. And now in mindfulness practice, it can be really helpful when we begin with the practice to find what we call an anchor. So something that's easy to recognize, easy to support a steadiness and a steadying of the attention. A way of training that, something that we can come back to when we've wandered away. And one common one of these is the noticing of the experience of breathing in the body. As the breath has been with us from the moment we were born and is going to be here till our last moment. And it's ongoing and so often unrecognized. So in this practice, tuning into that. And when I invite that, I don't mean that we try and shut everything else out or we try and turn off the thinking, as many people think meditation practice is. Mindfulness practice is not that. But what we do is we preference certain objects at times. And we develop our capacity to do that. And for now, it could be this anchor. So tuning into the experience of this breath as you notice it in this body in this moment. Paying attention to the full arc of the breath as it travels in and out of the body, the gentle undulations of the body and chest as that happens, the expansion and contraction. Recognizing that we don't need to do anything with this as well. That breathing just happens. It's always happened. Just we haven't paid attention to it. Sometimes I invite people to pay attention as though the breath was a dear, interesting and long lost friend. So beware of any stories that come up with that. But just that we can accompany the breath with intentionality, with interest, with kindness, with curiosity. And yet at the same time, not really interacting with it, not making anything happen. You'll also recognize the capacity of the mind so quickly to build up a story, to take us on some magical little mystery tour to somewhere so much more interesting than just resting with this breath in this moment. And just be aware that this is perfectly normal. And it's not at all as though you're not meditating anymore when that happens. That this is all part of the practice. Every moment of it. The being taken away and the coming back. For now, this is just the practice. This is all part of that functional rewiring. And when you recognize you've wandered off somewhere, this is a golden moment. That moment of recognition is the moment of mindfulness. The moment you get to choose to come back here, right now, to this breath. Possibly recalling that instruction about having the awareness within the body, pouring the awareness down within the body. So when we're accompanying the breath, it's not so much an external observation. It's not that at all. But it's knowing this experience of breathing from the inside directly. In the same way that you don't have to watch yourself sitting upright to know that you're upright. There's just a knowing that knows this. So resting in that same knowing that knows the breath directly. Noticing where the attention is in this moment. Noticing the quality of the attention as well. Also in this awareness of breath meditation, if you've been paying attention to the experience of the breath in the whole body, sometimes it can be helpful to narrow that focus down a little bit. So to find a location where the breath is easy to notice in the body. Could be at the lower belly, the chest, the edges of the nostril. One doesn't have to do this, but it can be helpful sometimes to have a more narrow focus. And to accompany the breath there, just to rest in that place, with the same degree of interest, intentionality, of closeness. Noticing the long arc of the breath in and out. Noticing whether the breath is long or whether the breath is short. And that there's no right or wrong breath, no good or bad breath. It's simply the breath. Allowing it to happen. And us just coming along for the ride, accompanying this dear old friend of ours. Each time the attention is wandered, coming back again and again. So shortly you'll hear a series of 3 bells just signaling the end of this period of short practice. My invitation to you is to treat that as well as a practice of mindfulness. Without straining and reaching out with the ears and the listening, receiving the sound of the bells, staying with them in the practice until you can no longer hear any more of the sound of the bell. So thank you for your attention, patience and mindfulness. If you'd like to learn more, then come and join me on our next 8-week commencing in January 2019 or on one of the following. I wish you all well.